The Bayon Temple, located in Siem Reap, Cambodia, is renowned for its remarkable architecture and intricate bas-reliefs. Constructed in the late 12th or early 13th century during the reign of King Jayavarman VII, the temple was dedicated to the Buddhist faith and is part of the larger Angkor Thom complex. The temple is famous for its colossal stone faces, believed to represent Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, or possibly the king himself. These faces, carved from sandstone, are an iconic symbol of the Khmer Empire and contribute to the unique character of the Bayon. Over the centuries, the temple has experienced periods of decline and restoration. Despite the challenges posed by nature and the passage of time, the Bayon Temple remains a significant cultural and historical landmark, attracting visitors from around the world who are drawn to its beauty and rich history. The Outer Gallery, depictions of historical events and everyday life. The outer wall of the Outer Gallery features a series of bas-reliefs depicting historical events and scenes from the everyday life of the Angkorian Khmer. Though highly detailed and informative in themselves, the bas-reliefs are not accompanied by any sort of epigraphic text, and for that reason, considerable uncertainty remains as to which historical events are portrayed and how, if at all, the different reliefs are related. From the East Gopra clockwise, the subjects are: in the southern part of the Eastern Gallery, a marching Khmer army, including some Chinese soldiers, with musicians, horsemen, and officers mounted on elephants, followed by wagons of provisions. Still in the Eastern Gallery, on the other side of the doorway, leading into the courtyard, another procession followed by domestic scenes depicting Angkorian houses, some of the occupants of which appear to be Chinese merchants. In the southeast corner pavilion, an unfinished temple scene with towers, apsaras, and a lingam. In the eastern part of the southern gallery, a naval battle on the Tonle Sap between Khmer and Cham forces, underneath which are more scenes from civilian life depicting a market, open-air cooking, hunters, and women tending to children, and an inn-ballad. Still in the southern gallery, past the doorway leading to the courtyard, a scene with boats and fishermen, including a Chinese junk, below which is a depiction of a cockfight. Then some palace scenes with princesses, servants, people engaged in conversations and games, wrestlers, and a wild boar fight. Then a battle scene with Cham warriors disembarking from boats and engaging Khmer warriors whose bodies are protected by coiled ropes, followed by a scene in which the Khmer dominate the combat, followed by a scene in which the Khmer king celebrates a victory feast with his subjects. In the western part of the southern gallery, a military procession including both Khmers and Chams, elephants, war machines such as a large crossbow and a catapult. In the southern part of the western gallery, unfinished reliefs show an army marching through the forest, then arguments and fighting between groups of Khmers. In the western gallery, past the doorway to the courtyard, a scene depicting a melee between Khmer warriors, then a scene in which warriors pursue others past a pool in which an enormous fish swallows a small deer, then a royal procession, with the king standing on an elephant, preceded by the Ark of the Sacred Flame. In the western part of the northern gallery, again unfinished, a scene of royal entertainment including athletes, jugglers, and acrobats, a procession of animals, ascetics sitting in a forest, and more battles between Khmer and Cham forces. In the northern gallery, past the doorway to the courtyard, a scene in which the Khmer flee from Cham soldiers advancing in tight ranks. In the northeast corner pavilion, another marching Khmer army. In the eastern gallery, a land battle between Khmer and Cham forces, both of which are supported by elephants. The Khmer appear to be winning. The outer gallery encloses a courtyard in which there are two libraries, one on either side of the east entrance. Originally, the courtyard contained 16 chapels, but these were subsequently demolished by the Hindu restorationist Jayavarman VIII. The inner gallery, depictions of mythological events. The inner gallery is raised above ground level and has doubled corners, with the original redented cross-shaped later filled out to a square. Its bas-reliefs, later editions of Jayavarman VIII, are in stark contrast to those of the outer. Rather than set-piece battles and processions, the smaller canvases offered by the inner gallery are decorated for the most part with scenes from Hindu mythology. Some of the figures depicted are Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, the members of the Trimurti or threefold godhead of Hinduism, apsaras or celestial dancers, Ravana, and Garuda. There is, however, no certainty as to what some of the panels depict, or as to their relationship with one another. One gallery just north of the Eastern Gopra, for example, shows two linked scenes that have been explained as the freeing of a goddess from inside a mountain, or as an act of iconoclasm by Cham invaders. Another series of panels shows a king fighting a gigantic serpent with his bare hands, then having his hands examined by women, and finally lying ill in bed. These images have been connected with the legend of the leper king, who contracted leprosy from the venom of a serpent with which he had done battle. Less obscure are depictions of the construction of a Vishnuite temple, south of the Western Gopura, and the churning of the Sea of Milk, north of the Western Gopura.